And we're back. Okay, so I've gotten into a similar position. We're in a similar orbit. We are once again, or not in orbit, but on a similar flight path, and we've set up a similar burn. So, can't be quite the same, but this is pretty close. So once again, we've set up our burn, and we're going to start burning. It's important to note that this is the time to the burn point, the point from which we've calculated our burn, so we want to split this roughly in half. So that's going to be about 23 seconds, so we're going to start now. And we're just going to hope we have enough fuel left for that burn. I think we do. We should have plenty. I hope. Anyway, and we're going to see our orbital path extend out. Basically how orbits work is, once you get outside the atmosphere, the planet is dragging you back in. So your goal is to establish enough horizontal velocity that you'll just sort of fall and constantly miss it. Okay, so we overshot our orbit just slightly because I wasn't actually looking at the little indicator here. But that's fine. It honestly does not matter, because we're in orbit. We are in space, we are in orbit, and we're going to stay there for however long we want to. So, up in the corner, we're going to accelerate time. You know, maximum we can go, because we're at a specified and arbitrary distance from the planet, is, let's see, what is this, 1,000 times speed? 50 times speed. Okay, not quite 1,000. But as you can see, we're just sitting here in orbit. The planet is passing around, or we're passing around the planet, rather, on the dark side, and bang. We just hit the light side of the planet. And you can't see the sun in this. Oh, yes you can. What am I saying? Dang. That shadow. That silhouette. Let's see. Let's get our... Well, we don't have it quite. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We'll do it when it comes around. We gotta get our screenshot for the, We've done it 10 times speed. We have to get our screenshot for the thumbnail image. So let's get a really, really epic. So we'll hide the UI in just a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're gonna have to maneuver around a bit. Just gonna have to drop down to real time. Oh dang it, I still got the SAS on. Okay, fine. Never mind. What we'll do is we'll skip around until it's sunset up here in space. Playing around with the time warp controls. Takes a little while. So then we'll just maneuver around so we get a, like I said, awesome awesome image. We'll hide that, and we'll just wait a couple seconds, and then we'll... Yeah, okay, we'll get a couple different angles. One of these will end up in the thumbnail. Alright, I've had my fun. It's time to head back to Kerbal, back to the future. But first, you could technically go in here and fly by instruments, but no, just no. Let's see. Hey, buddy. Don't know what he's doing there. Probably something profane on Kerbal. But before we go, hey buds, yeah, let's get a crew report. This does nothing in this mode because I honestly, in other modes you have to earn resources. This is sandbox mode, so you don't. You can just build whatever you want. So yeah, let's just oh yeah, I didn't put a communications dish on here, so no contact from ground control then. But okay, let's do this. Let's wait until we're landing on the sunny side of the moon, or the Earth, or Kerbal. We'll land in the daytime. So we'll go here. Okay. So now that. So we're gonna move to face retrograde. Basically, that means retrograde and prograde. Simple terms, prograde is the way you're already going. Retrograde is the opposite of the way you're already going. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna go with this. Oh, gosh, that's beautiful. There it is. That is the thumbnail image right there. That is the thumbnail image right there. Oh, that's just beautiful. The game's graphics are a little cartoony, and they're not spectacular, but they certainly get the job done, and at times they look really pretty. See, all these thumbnail images. All the thumbnail images. Dang. That's beautiful. Alright. Enough admiring the graphics. Let's go. So, we're gonna burn retrograde. In other words, basically we're gonna slow ourselves down. You remember when I said orbit was basically going around the planet so fast that we were falling and for missing? Well, now we're gonna be able to fall and actually hit the planet. Thing is though, we don't actually need to hit the planet. All we need to do is hit the atmosphere. Because when we hit the atmosphere, we're gonna slow down. And that's going to slow us down. The friction's going to slow us down. And once we get slowed down enough, it'll just dissolve our orbit. It'll slow us down, so we'll fall and just hit that planet. Hit that planet. So, we're going to just burn, and we'll watch our orbital maneuver here. Okay, that's enough. That's really all we need to... Oh, dang it. You know what? No, I want to land on land. Land on land. Huh? So, now we're going to burn prograde. Well, actually not quite prograde. Actually, yeah, pretty close. But now we're basically going to burn until we end up somewhere on this line mass. And remember, this is completely calculated without friction or air resistance, so... Okay, that's a little too far. I wonder if I can, yeah, let's burn retrograde. They do give you, with experienced pilots like Jebediah here, he's going to be your main pilot in this game. They give you these markers, so you can basically automatically point retrograde. So we're going to do that, and we're going to burn just until... Oh, we're just about out of fuel. Okay, we'll burn to there. That's good enough. We'll land somewhere on that landmass. Dang it, this so much. Alright, well, we don't need this anymore now, do we? So we're just going to eject that. We're going to go in our pod here. Okay, snap. No, bad. Okay. Alright, we got to kill our rotation because we're spinning. Point retrograde. And this is how much you can open up this panel to see your resources. That's going to be our fuel for our CS. As you can see, not much of it. The ablator is for our heat shield. Once all that dies, our heat shield is no more. Basically, that's what's going to absorb the heat as we go down, and it will steadily lose that. But don't worry, we should still have plenty. Probably only take a couple hundred, so we should have plenty of extra. And that's our electricity. And you can see that trying to maintain our vector, that is taking up electricity. And that's not good, because if we run out of electricity, we will lose all control of our craft. And if we lose all control of our craft, our Kerbals are going to either burn up in the atmosphere and die, or worse, hit the ground and die. It's going to open up our solar panels, and as soon as we hit the atmosphere, it's going to rip these right off. But that's going to keep our electricity topped off. No, I have to keep it. Darn, I am going to have to. Once we get into the atmosphere, though, the friction will keep our craft pointed at retrograde. So you can see we've just entered the atmosphere. The celestial music is cut off suddenly. And you can see this is our projected course. Odds are we're going to hit somewhere more like here. More like here. Because of air friction and the fact that this planet is actually turning. Yeah, I think you can actually see that slightly. It's turning and we're moving. So we're over our ginormous ocean, and pretty soon there's now it's just called debris. That was our fuel tanks, and there's actually still a little bit of fuel in there, but we can't save it, and we need to get rid of it. So we're on a retrograde vector. Okay, we can dispense with the... Oh, dang it. Never mind. We can't, not with one. We gotta shut off our solar panels. They're hitting the air. As soon as we do that, then we should be able to basically just point retrograde. Basically retrograde. It's slightly down, but that's basically retrograde. So yeah, okay. Don't need that solar array information. So now I'm going to keep going, and hopefully we will actually hit this thing. You can see our path is steadily going inward as we start to hit air resistance and slow down. Even though we're not actually slowing down, because we're getting closer to the surface, which makes us go faster, because we're having a greater gravitational pull on us, which is going to speed us up. But then as soon as we hit the atmosphere, you'll start to see it. We'll have some atmospheric effects, or thermal effects, actually. What are you doing? Oh, don't do that. Bad. We'll have some thermal effects, and then we'll start slowing down, which is also going to heat us up, though, because we're going to be hitting the thick atmosphere. Somewhere around here is when we'll start seeing it. But as soon as that happens, an increased warp. This is the way time warp works in this game. In space, because there's no gravity working on you, really. As long as you're not firing engines, you can just warp because nothing's affecting you. There are no forces affecting you. In atmosphere, there are still forces. And so, in order to get this warp, what they're doing is they're just making the physics more approximate. So you don't really want to do this when something's actually happening. But it's great when you're just sitting there in atmosphere. Okay, now we've got thermals, so we're going to turn off physics warp. We'll take a look at our... Actually, don't need to do that. We've got our monitor. This is going to be how much heat we're doing. And I think we're going to lose at least one of these solar panels because they're sticking out. They're not. You know what? Screw it. Let's get rid of it. Like, as soon as that's extended, I would expect it to just... Okay, no. Or not. Actually, because of the angle, it's just holding on. Okay, we're not going to do that. Bad idea. Bad idea. Bad idea. Normally solar panels would just dissolve like the moment they hit the atmosphere, but evidently not with that one. Okay, so we started burning it later, and this is how fast we're burning it. This little number right here. Yeah, so now it's just a matter of waiting until we slow down. You can see our speed is dropping fast. We were over 2,000 meters per second. We're down to 1,500 and dropping. That's one great thing. If you can just get into the atmosphere, it will slow you down enough that you can see, oh, dang it, we're closing even faster than I expected. You can see, we're gonna actually land over here. I thought we'd land somewhere in here. We'd land over here. But we are gonna land on land in the mountains, actually. Interesting. Okay, so we only used like 50 of our ablative shield. If we were moving faster, like if we'd come back from the moon or another planet, and yes, there are other planets and the moon in this game, but if we'd come back from that, there are still some glitches where these like keep showing like thermal overlays, even when they're not supposed to. But anyway, there actually are. I'm gonna pop the chute. Please don't break. If you come in too fast, the chute will break, and it's partially deployed now. Once we get to 500 meters above the ground, then it will deploy fully, and will slow down even further. But this should slow us down to about 100 meters per second. I'm just hoping the chute deploys, because we're coming into mountains. Okay, there we go. Deployed. Whew, that would have been bad. That would have been really bad if it hadn't. It would have been, yeah, smashy. What I'm gonna do, while we're landing, is zoom out. There's the moon. Oh, okay, thank goodness. Okay, we lost the heat shield. But it doesn't matter. We're still alive. We are alive. This craft can survive, I don't know how much. Like, an impact force of like 30 meters per second. It's pretty good. So then we're just gonna... Let's get somebody out. Jebediah, why don't you, do the honors of conquering this strange new world? And then we'll, plant a flag. I've just got the default flag. Oh. I wasn't planning on this. Yeah. We didn't, crash and die. So that's something. Right? Okay. So now we'll take a surface sample for all the use it is. Yeah, the snow is mostly barren snow, dirt, and rocks. Then if you looked under the snow, you'd find more dirt and rocks. A very astute observation. We'll walk back up to our spacecraft, and we'll get back in. Oops, not quite high enough. There we go. Now we'll get back in. Okay, so we'll go back to the map view. Let's zoom out. There's the moon, or should I say the mun. And over here is Minimus, the other moon. And here's our planet. You might think, oh, that's pretty cool. You get moons too. Huh? You don't just get moons. Keep going back. Asteroids. Well, unknown objects, but asteroids. Mainly. Asteroids and the planet. And what? Other planets? And the sun. There are no other star systems, unfortunately. But with but even at like maximum warp, it would take forever to get there, and it would just take like years and years, hundreds of years to get to all their star systems. So yeah, so there's the moon, Moho, Eve, Kerbin, there. Then Duna, Dress, Jewel, and Elu. Alright, we'll zoom back in. And of course, the Minmus, and like 1,000,001 like little asteroids and just other stuff. Anyway, the one thing about the moon, it's right in line with the typical parking orbit of Kerbin, so it's really pretty easy to get to. Landing on it's a little dicey because it's pretty heavy and there's no atmosphere. It's a lot of gravity. Because with other planets, there's an atmosphere, so you can deploy parachutes. On the moon, no, you have to just fire retrograde constantly. Try and not destroy your craft when you set down. I've done that more times than I can count. But anyway, there we go. We are alone in the mountains on our planet. But that is it. So we're going to recover our vessel and its valiant crew. We successfully made it to orbit. And now, with all the parts unlocked, you can do some pretty insane stuff, and the game does support mods. There are a ton of mods for this game. Because, you can do some really insane stuff. You can do insane stuff. You can go to the other planets, build space stations. There are docking ports. You can connect different, spacecraft together to make space stations. You can use them to stop, refuel, change your crew. You can go to the moon, Minmus, the other planets, plant flags, collect samples, do research stuff. Pretty cool. You got your Kerbals, Jebediah, Bill, Bob, and now Valentina, new in the 1.0 update. And of course you can hire other random Kerbals. Basically this game's been in early access for a long time. Like years. But this is finally the 1.0 release. It's probably the most stable release I've seen. There's a lot of new features. The whole atmospheric heating thing, that's actually new. You didn't used to be able to die in the atmosphere, but you can now. So you actually have to think about that. And actually add a heat shield, which adds just another level of realism. You can actually, I'll go back in a second. The only thing that sucks is kind of the loading times. They're not horrible, but they're kind of irritating because you load regularly in the Space Center. Loading. Anyway. So let's go into... And it crashed. Well. Okay then. Just as I was saying, it was all stable and hunky-dory. Okay, so Kerbal Space Program's not the most stable program in the world. But I guess this is as good a place to end the episode as any. Yeah, it's not super stable, never has been. You will experience some crashes every once in a while. But it's still a super fun game. If you haven't played this, it is insane the amount of stuff you can do. I mean, I've made it seem easy, but it's not. It is quite challenging. But it's worth it. It's a good kind of challenging. The kind where it's like you versus the laws of physics, not you versus some impossible AI that that's just cheating. So, I would recommend you pick this up. This game costs $40 on Steam, though it does go on sale every once in a while. It was in early access for a long, long time. You will need a pretty beefy gaming rig to run the settings on full and expect pretty significant frame drops, particularly with larger aircraft. I mean, with larger rockets, there's some really crazy stuff. Look around on the internet. If you liked this video, please like it, and if you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It makes a big difference to the channel. If you'd like to see more like this, please let me know in the comments below. And as always, have a nice day, and thank you for watching.